Howdy, hey everyone. There's probably only a few people in the stream at the moment, but looks like the guys are just sorting out the well, they've done the coin flip at least. Oh, here we go, there's the draft. So we can jump straight in. Oh, we literally are straight in. I was expecting a little bit of a slow run in as Bongo took a little while to respond to the initial coin flip, but here we are for some more Clash Contenders action, or Contenders Clash action I should say. I keep getting the name the wrong way around for some reason. And we've already got the bans up from both players. I've said many times before, Bob very much doesn't like the water maps. In fact, I think Bob normally bans Ocean Ring, so he's actually probably quite glad that Bongo's taken that out of the pool. Bongo goes for Citadels. I'm just trying to remember if these two players have actually played each other in the Centurion division yet. I think Bob has played Mini Yeti, has picked Plateaus here. Like I said, Bob normally prefers those more open maps. I'm going to have a quick look at the league bracket and see if they've actually played each other on this other screen. And have a quick check through. Bob has not played Bongo yet in the Centurion division. And Oasis and Muddy Waters. Okay, so quite a lot of the more open maps, I guess. Muddy Waters doesn't see a huge amount of play, but we may get it in this series here. We do have the closed map of Citadels. It's always quite good to have a little bit of variation in the map pool, I tend to find, just because it makes the draft a little bit more interesting. Because otherwise, if it's just all like land maps, then the sort of more higher tier civs just get picked instantly, and the rest are kind of just like the best of the rest sort of thing. For those who are wondering what happened to the Cool versus Mini Yeti game that was supposed to be being played an hour ago, unfortunately Cool has been having troubles with his internet and wasn't able to play his series, and we're not 100% sure. I think, well, we basically voided that game, so Mini Yeti will advance on to the next stage, so that's a little bit sad. Obviously Cool, #1 seed, expected to go quite far in the tournament. I don't know if we've counted him out of, because obviously Cool would drop into the losers bracket, but he said he won't be able to play the rest of the series games anyway. But anyway, just quickly focus on the draft at hand. I'll get back to that in a sec. Palmyran's curiously banned by Bob, maybe because Bongo has some strategies that he's shown with Palmyran's. Latviat banned by Bongo. Both players pick the Shang up. Carthaginians is the go-to pick from Bob. I have seen Carth picked quite early on by Bob in a lot of games. Bongo takes the Egyptians away, obviously, for the Citadels map. Yamato, just a nice all-round civ. Pretty good civ on the sort of Oasis. I think probably a good civ on Plateaus as well, because I think the scouts can be quite nice. Phoenicians, just a good all-round civ as well. And let's see what are the options. Syrians picked up by Bob. I think this is one of those ones where I always start talking about the Romans being missed out a little bit. Minoans probably won't be seen in this draft just because we don't have much of any water. So I think it would take a brave person to go for Minnow. Bob hasn't picked himself a Citadel civ, and Bongo does pick up Romans, so Bob maybe might start looking at the Greeks or the Hittites. The Egyptians, obviously a pretty good top tier civ on Citadels. It's going to be interesting to see what he goes for. So Chosen also picked from Bongo. Like I said, I think the last few picks usually not submit there. I mean, there's Persians actually, but again, Persians usually don't. I think they've fallen out of favour a little bit in recent times. It's only normally on the more hybridy maps that people still pick Persians now. But again, I feel like Bob hasn't picked himself a. Okay, interesting. I was going to say, I don't think he's picked Citadel civs. I don't know if that Babylonians was just there. S-tier civ for Oasis. Yeah, that's true. I guess the more open maps where scouts can still be played, they're still a pretty solid civ. And then Bongo just takes Hittites from the rest. So yeah, I think, I mean, Babylonians feels like Bob's only real Citadel civ here, but they don't match massively well into the Egyptian. I mean, we saw that absolutely ridiculous game between Say My Name and Unrestricted, which was Babylonians against Egyptians on Citadels in the winners part of the tournament, side of the tournament, and that ended up being a 2-hour game, and unfortunately for Unrestricted didn't really feel like he had any chance of actually winning that game as the Babylonians. He just was holding on for a long time. Just the Egyptian lack of decent siege is the only really thing holding him in the game. And we'll see how this... Okay, there's actually a few lobbies running. I know I was actually watching Mobius 1 is... Oh no, sorry, Spirit of the Universe was streaming his game against Mobius 1 for the Swordsman Division Rise of the Ancients League game. I was watching him just before popping this stream up, so it's good to see some of the other players in the community still playing their league games and stuff like that. And as I've said before, I think after the Clash Contenders Clash, I keep getting mixed up, tournament's over, we'll try and cover the Rise of the Ancients stuff that's happening a little bit more. But yeah, like I said, the map pool, just because it's mostly just pure land maps, purely because of chariots, but well, yeah, they just have very strong chariots, yeah, and there aren't many. I think, like, you can try and go Greeks. Yeah, they just have a good eco, good priest, and good chariots. It's like the Bronze Age is just really, really strong, and you can more consistently get to the Bronze Age on Citadels. Like, the weakest part of the game for the Egyptians is like the very early part of the game, and that kind of gets negated a little bit on Citadels. Like, you can, sometimes people do go for tool rushes on Citadels, but it's usually a little hard to pull it off. It works a bit more inside out when you're closer together. That's the other wall map, but Citadels, you're normally a bit further apart, and obviously you have the medium walls. But yeah, you can just try to overpower with the Greeks, and like you can go Greek hoplite and Greek priest, just like try and convert back your things. But I think Egyptians is just considered the top tier pick on Citadels nowadays. Okay, so they're setting up the lobby now, and just to remind players, the first map will always be Highland, and then it'll be the loser picks from the remaining pool here. Be interesting to see if we do get like a Shang mirror straight away. I have actually seen Chosen usually quite often the sort of what's the word? The sort of left behind thing just thrown out there as a bait to try and bait out stronger civs. So a few people like to pick Chosen on Highland just to sort of try and get a matchup against a stronger civ, and if they lose, it's like, oh well, I only lost the Chosen, and if they win, they're like, well they're just being one of the best civs. I guess you could just go try and just sheer weight of force if you have a slightly stronger earlier game civ, but it's in the Bronze Age proper, there's like very few civs that can contend with Egyptians. Okay, so the game one's actually already started. Hittites can do okay into Egyptians, but like, if the Egyptian player just adds in the regular chariot to their mix, if they go chariot plus chariot archer, the Egyptian player should win that matchup, just because the Hittites don't have any bonuses to their base chariots. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to load us into game one here, looking a little bit distracted. I'll just pause the music and get us in. I've got to load up the mod, I always forget about that. Yeah, the Hittites kind of have to go all in one TC in that situation as well, just because their eco's much weaker. Well, they don't really have an eco bonus at all. So game one, okay, Carthaginians against Romans, and we're just a little bit behind, so we're just going to catch up. Looks like Bob was the quickest to the centre. So we don't see the Shank, and we don't see and the Chosen thrown out, but the Romans. So Ardagula is that's Bongo for anyone that's confused there. For some reason, a lot of the players have a slightly annoying habit of renaming themselves all the time, which obviously they can do that if they want, but it makes it a little bit confusing for when we're doing the casts, but it is what it is. But yeah, I feel like from my memory, Bongo often doesn't go contest the middle of the map, try and grab those elephants, whereas Bob obviously went and grabbed those straight away. There's normally the 2 elephants right in the centre of the map, of course. And the 2 slightly out ones are actually on Bob's side as well. I'm actually a little bit surprised he didn't see that one there. Okay, I guess he went through the wood line, so didn't quite come across that. But yep, Carthaginians, like I said, pretty hotly contested pick for Bob. He normally tries to pick that up pretty early after the Shang and the Latvia are out of the draft. And unfortunately, his Gazelle did a little bit of a scattering there. He might try and get those back in at some point. And looks like Bongo's already found. In fact, I'm going to change the name at the top just so it's a little bit less confusing. Just going to do that real quick before we get into anything else. 28 is his official name as per listed. Just do a little quick fast forward just to get us back up to live again. And let's have a look at the map. So okay, it's actually before that, Bob's already going forward and he's gone 16 pop up with Carthaginians. Obviously Carth have a pretty strong Stone Age with those extra resources, but 53-second idle TC time to try and get something done earlier. Bongo just going for a more standard 20 pop approach. He does have a little bit more food to get. I suppose idle time is going to creep up a little bit, but this is going to give Bob about a 40-second advantage to try and get something done. Obviously, it's going to be very tight for resources here. He does have an extra elephant that he can try and find at some point to keep his yeet code going, but now Bongo going forward himself. I've just realised Bongo's name is like way too long to actually fit on the scoreboard, but never mind. But somehow Bob has managed to squeak out double barracks. Like I said, there's extra few resources that the Carthaginians start with, being stretched quite a long way here. And Bongo's going to put down his barracks, but the first clubber is already out. Tool Age is in. I'm going to see there's not really much of a reaction. There's already another villager coming forward from Bongo. Often what can happen in this case is just whoever gets the clubbers in first ends up just kind of winning these games on the spot because neither player has a military building at home to defend themselves. Unfortunately for Bob, the clubber is going completely the wrong direction here. And he was so close to finding his opponent there. And arguably a lot of his early advantage has kind of been a little bit thrown away. Obviously he has the axe upgrade and some of the storage pick upgrades already in. Archery range to follow up. But yeah, Bongo's had a chance to research tower and get that in. It's going to defend his wood line quite nicely. And the clubbers are going to be coming in for Bongo as well now. Needlework has already been researched by Bob, so he should be able to fend off these couple of early clubbers. Axe are not quite in yet. But as I said, there's no military buildings at home. But there we go, axes are in. And just going to try and... Bongo is trying to take his elephant. So at least, I guess, yeah, Bob has denied those, but yeah, needleworking in for Bongo as well. So quite a few villagers forced idle. And sort of for both players at the moment. A couple of axes in on the wood line. That's going to be the first villager kill. In fact, one happened at both at the same time there, so one must be caught over around here. And yeah, this is always the... I'm not really a huge fan of this when both players just go forward, because it just turns the game into like a complete mess, and it just kind of grinds to a halt a little bit as all the ecos go idle, but a little bit of firing back there. Bob has managed to get an archery range up at home, which will help him defend. But yeah, 3 villagers already taken down by Bongo. And Bob's only... I mean, yeah, he's 5 villagers behind still. Obviously, he went a little bit more greedy in that Stone Age there. Bongo managing to escape with a few villagers there. But at the moment, Bob definitely has the advantage in terms of the military. It's just a few archers there. So yeah, Bongo built his own archery range at home as well. Bob trying to add slingers in. Kind of just focusing down the house is going to make him lose their units in the end. And yeah, like saying restricted, there's just like both players just like take out each other's economy, and it's kind of, it almost just feels like a coin flip. Like Bob obviously, unfortunately, went a little bit in the wrong way at the start there, which made it so his initial rush wasn't that effective. Yeah, that's well, for sure. But yeah, Bongo, I guess you can argue here, well, objectively, I guess he just has done better. He's just killed more villagers. He simply killed more villagers. There's no real argument there. A third barracks coming down for Bob. That feels a little bit like a waste of wood for me, as he's already got the 2 here, and he definitely doesn't have the food to support this many barracks at this point. But yeah, trying to get those slingers in. Obviously the Carthaginian extra bonus resources helping now with the extra stone for the time being. But yeah, Bongo managed to sort of get that side wood line up a little bit out of the way. Crocodile getting involved there. A couple of villagers. I guess maybe he's just searching for his other berry patches at the moment. Where are they? They're down the south side here. Did see the elephant though, I'm fairly sure there. So he can just grab that if he wants to. And Bob has managed to close the gap somewhat, as Bongo doesn't seem to really be able to get himself onto food. He is trying to set himself up on farms now, and he's got a good number of bows. But there's 5 slingers here. Axes just acting as a little bit of a meat shield. And slingers, if they can close the distance, obviously much better against the bows there. And villagers jump out. So a little bit of a risky play for Bongo. Bob could just turn on the villagers here. Just repositioning a little bit. Afraid of taking the fight there. I think Bob could maybe have tried to focus down a couple of vills. Wanted to wait for the stone mining upgrade to come in. He didn't want to lose his army. So stone mining is in now for the +1 range and attack on those slingers. And I mean, if you can get like another 5 or so slingers out, you can start even diving under that watchtower, maybe contest the watchtower. And at home, Bob is still completely open. He still had most of his gazelle there. We actually put another storage pit to grab that. But yeah, still slight villager lead for Bongo, and it does look like he's getting himself set up on the food. But here we go again with the slingers. And, but yeah, Bob just right on the limit for resources. It kind of looks like he is just trying to focus on adding in villagers for the time being, which again was, I'm a little bit, don't really get why the third barracks had to come down there. I guess he just had wood floating and just thought, oh well, put another one down. But maybe that wood could have been spent on putting another farm down or so. Bob does already have stone mining. He already does have that in. Maybe a villager gets picked off here, but yeah, just not quite. Got it without the ballistics. A little bit difficult sometimes. There we go. Does get the 1 down. And now it's only a 1 villager lead, and it feels like Bob is got the pressure on here, and just taking this house down would be quite nice to house Bongo here. He's let the axes get into melee range though. It's obviously not ideal. And Bo is going to take care of that, so a little bit of a poor fight in the end actually from Bob. In fact, he didn't even take the house down either. So that went pretty poorly for him. He's trying to add in the bows of his own now. His axes chasing down. Another axe pops out though. Bob taking that fight on the slight uphill. he's going to lose most of his army here, I think. And like I said, he did have an advantage on the military side, but that's now completely disappeared. But although now, that said, he is a singular villager ahead, much more idle TC type for Bongo, but both players absolutely huge amounts of idle TC time, like I said, both just disrupting each other's eco quite a lot. And, house gets to live on 6 HP. Axe is still being made at the forward barracks, may just get caught off by the loose bowman. Looks like we've kind of just got handfuls of units kind of spread out everywhere. Just means like a few units are probably going to get picked off kind of for free and it'll be a little bit wasted. Yeah, Bongo going to lose a couple of axes here as well. Yeah, you can see the military numbers 16-7 in favour of Bongo now. And villager forward. Interesting. I might get axed to death. A couple of slingers popping out from that barracks as well. Going to cuff the bowmen that are trying to retreat. Stone mining is coming in for Bongo as well now, as he's starting to add in the slinger of his own. And yeah, looks like Bongo, I was going to say, get himself an eco lead, but Bob is filling quite a lot of food. I don't know if he's just waiting. Okay, no, he is adding more villagers. I was thinking maybe he's just going to idle the TC, try to get himself up to Bronze Age. I just think that would be quite a risky move there. And yeah, Bob, heavily outnumbered military-wise, trying to build up some more military buildings at home, get the production going. Still making units at the front here. In fact, he might want to just... It's kind of hard to go for a bit of a counter-attack when the towers are there. We see a little bit of fright at the front. A couple of villagers being pulled in. Going to get taken down, though. And the fight here is going to go very heavily in Bongo's favour. And I think, possibly, this might be game now. Bob only on 4, and yeah, GG's called straight away. There's no way that Bob was really going to hold the base there. And so yeah, it was quite interesting. It looked like Bob had got himself into quite favourable position, but he kind of just mispositioned this moment here. He just mispositioned the slingers, and the military numbers just completely flipped instantly. Yeah, Bob just trying to punish those villagers, and he did get one. But yeah, let's just focusing down the house. Just jump forward a little bit. And yeah, just a slight lack of focus. And the axes get in on the slingers. And he was forced onto the retreat. Military numbers flipped. And like I said, just these buildings kind of out in no man's land. And the drip feed of units. Just kind of get units caught off here and there. And yeah, a sort of classic double forward messy game, but Bongo getting himself set up with the towers meant they could hold for long enough to just build up that military count and then eventually just outmass his opponent. Yeah, like you can see there, quite a few units just sort of thrown away, popping out of the barracks. And, yeah, like I said, in the end, Bob left with basically nothing to defend his base with. There we go, GG's. So, let's get us into game 2. Both players still with the Shang left, so it'll be interesting to see when that gets brought out into action from each player. Let me get back to the draft, that's what I'm trying to do. As my AOE2 Rex seems to have gone slightly wrong, but anyway, let's have a look here. So we had the Carthaginians losing against Bongo's Romans there. So obviously quite a high priority pick for Bob, losing to one of Bongo's lower picked civs, which is never a great thing. Just going to refresh the AOE2 Rex. Might have to end up looking in game if it's not going to play the game. There we go, it's loaded up properly now. And it looks like Muddy Waters is going to be the pick from Bob. Like I said, I'm not seeing this map being played that many times. I imagine well, Shang is basically just good everywhere. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we just see Shang versus Shang. I think I've seen some people pick Chosen on this map, but I don't think that's just particularly because they like Chosen on this map. It's just sort of coincidence that like sometimes, like again, like I said, Chosen seems to be one of the throwaway civs that people just throw out to just try and bait out stronger civs. We'll see what the picks are here. I would have maybe Bob goes for the Assyrians here. It's quite an open middle ground, so if you can get the faster villagers to go and find those extra elephants, and then go and grab, not grab. What I'm trying to say, try to get the chariot archers up in the Bronze Age. That could be all right. And it'd be interesting to see if the Hittites do get utilised by Bongo though as well. Assyrians and Hittites quite similar civilizations with their archer bonuses, and we are going to get ourselves into the second game, so I will load us in nice and quickly. Oh, so it is actually going to be the Chosen from Bongo, and Bob's actually gone with the Phoenicians here. Phoenicians, obviously, like I said, just a very nice all-round civ. The wood bonus just helps with any strategy. And just having a quick look at the map. Bongo just having a quick explore around. And it's only sort of like, sometimes this is a much larger area in this middle there, but it's like sort of these two little masses of land that have skewed the centre a little bit. And a couple of nearby elephants. So it's a reasonable way away. I don't know if that's usual for this map, though. It looks like further away than other maps, so maybe it's just the openness of the map that makes it seem like that. But yeah, you would assume that the Phoenicians should have an edge in this matchup just because of the eco advantage. The Chosen just have those little sort of power spikes with the cheaper storage pit text, lets you kind of get those out a little bit quicker at the start of certain ages, but other than that they're not massively strong unless they can get to the late game and just start spanning the legionaries. Obviously the towers as well can always be quite annoying. Yeah, it's not normally, the sort of like marshy muddy water, I guess, bit in the middle is usually a little bit more rounded. And yeah, Bob can be able to find himself a central elephant. And is he going to be lucky enough to find this one here, or is it going to be a classic one tile miss? And he is going to spot it, or whether he notices it's there or not. Okay, he does notice it. Drops the aggro momentarily, so that's quite nice for him. Grabs himself an extra couple of elephants. And meanwhile, Bongo again not really bothering with going for the centre, just looking at what he's got around him. Like I said, I feel like that's just one of Bongo's traits. He never like tangles with stuff in the middle. He doesn't make it risky. Sometimes you send out a villager on Highland and your opponent's already grabbed the middle first, and you end up just wasting time going for the middle. But if your opponent knows you play like that, you can take advantage of it. If you know they're not going to contest the middle, then you know you're going to get it for free, essentially. So, not always the best to just always leave it. Storage pit going up pretty nicely towards the back for Bongo. Bongo does have a very open southeast side to his base here. His base is very open in general. Bob has a much more easily closed off base. You could potentially wall from here to here and there to there, and then close off at the edge of the map. How much exploration he's done here? I think he's just searching for his home elephants at the moment. But if he does explore the tree lines, Bob's actually got a much more easy to wall map here, and it would have an extra pile of gold and stone in the back as well, which would be quite nice if the game does go longer. Especially to start spamming the Chosen towers if it gets to that point. And here we have the forward villager coming out. 20 pop for both players. A little bit more idle time for Bob though, which is actually a little bit surprising. I guess Bob normally has a pretty good Stone Ages, and like I said, Phoenicians do have that slight eco advantage. Barracks is going to go up. I think, yeah, I did see the barracks. I don't think I'm not sure if Bob saw the villager from Bongo though, and Bongo only just putting up the barracks now, so Bob is going to be able to defend from this. Second barracks going up as well, and he's going to have a building wall in the front of his base here, which means the barracks is going to be a little bit, oh, the initial cover is going to be a little bit delayed. They're going to be forced to go around this either side, although that could be a little bit interesting if Bob puts his clubbers out here and these flank around the side, but we'll see. Yeah, his gazelle, his ibex are on the outside, that's true. So he didn't find his other elephant there. He did get a couple of elephant from the middle of the map, but obviously this means he is going to be forced to make farms fairly early on. And obviously that comes as a bit of a crunch if you're not got the wood set up ready for it. Obviously he's Phoenicians, so should have the wood income if he plays this out nicely. Does need to get the market down, but both players just going for the AXA upgrades and such. But yeah, like I said, the clubbers from Bongo forced to go the long way around. Archery range being added into the double barracks forward. Market is coming down for Bob. And where are all these axes? The axes kind of just doing a little bit of exploration. So this soon to be AXA going to get in. And it'll work not in for Bob just yet. He's going to be forced to retreat. A bowman is already out to defend though. And I'm going to go straight for the bowman, interestingly. Second axe are going to come round, but axe has been pulled back for Bongo. Like I said, Bob is running out of his food sources. He's just put down the quick farms. Does have enough to get a handful of farms down for the time being. But yeah, a little bit of idle time creeping in for both players. Bongo actually has resources to keep the villager queue going. Oh, he goes out in another one now. You can see from the stopped timer stopped. But looks like Bob's managed to control the situation for the time being. Like I said, if he researches wall, and like yeah, you can see he's done all the exploration he needs now. If he just researches wall, gets himself wall that, I'm pretty sure he has more than enough stone to do those couple of walls there. You can see a little bit of a tangle on the side there. Bongo's already added in Slinger. Nearly able to take down the bow there, but not quite though. And yeah, Bongo has managed to get a lot more units out of the field, but not really any real damage done so far. Stone mining already in from Bongo as well. Archer range being added, which is a little bit curious as he already knows his opponent's going for Slinger, so I kind of a little bit questionable doubling down the bow there. And Bob does have himself set up with more villagers on food, so that's what I'm trying to say at the moment. So maybe he can get his production catching up. Yeah, he's at 11 now. But yeah, Bob not choosing to try and set the walls up. And he's going to have a little bit of difficulty, I think, with the slingers. Obviously, he has a decent number of axes still, which can close the gap on a small number of slingers fairly easily. He's actually pulling his villagers away from the wood line. Maybe just to build a storage pit somewhere else. I think he doesn't have any stone. Has he already put a storage pit down? Okay, he already has. Just blending in with the background. Yeah, just wise to move that wood line away from potential being shot over by bowmen, etc. Bongo has been a little bit better at getting the village production coming out though. 3 villagers ahead. Just slightly more. A better macro play in the house. It's going to get cut through here. Bongo is readying the units and it's got a good amount of bows now. I don't think woodworking's actually in though. But yeah, villagers are going to get pulled back. We'll have to see the fight here, but these stone mining slingers are probably going to make this fight a little bit awkward for Bob, even with the greater numbers. And bows are very quickly able to pick off the first couple of axes. Woodworking's coming in now. Be interesting to see Bob takes the fight here. he is going to go before woodworking's in. Just trying to pick off the axes, but yeah, slingers getting a good amount of damage, and you can see all the orange bodies on the floor. I mean, I think there was a fairly even fight in the end. Woodworking coming in now. Slingers are being added in by Bob as well. Villager a little bit out of place. Not exactly sure how that villager got there. I wasn't paying 100% attention, but that was the first eco kill. And woodworking in. Woodworking coming in for Bongo, but it's going to be a little bit later. But again, these slingers going to be quite a big problem for Bob. Meanwhile, back at base here. Bongo, how's that? Okay, he's got the berries up at the back there. I was wondering where his other food income was coming from. Another house goes down. Bob is housed now because of that. And again, you kind of sort of question a little bit. I mean, he started... Why did he wall here? Why did he not just wall down here? That's a little bit curious. It's actually a gap here. Oh no, there's not. There's one little jungle tree in the way. Let's focus back on the fight here. But yeah, a little bit unusual for Bob to wall where he did that. Could have gone for the much shorter wall between this section at the south. Yeah, I think the slingers are just going to make this a pretty easy fight. Looks like Bob was focusing in the opposing bows, but the slingers, yeah, just going to absolutely mop up that. 18 to 10 on the military count now. And yeah, Bob not able to get the slinger mass he needs to contest his opponent's slingers, and Bob obviously doesn't have stone mining yet himself. And he's adding in the scout. Stable's there, but I think he's going to have time. As his opponent's pushing in on his TC now. Another few villagers get taken down. And down to full military. I think this is going to be another fairly quick GG. First scouts comes out. Does have tool working in. Instantly gets clapped down though. And Bob using his villagers. Does have the needle working now. Trying to get something done. But the sheer volume of units now just flooding in. GG is called. And yeah, once you get yourself up to a good mass of slingers and bows, there's just not really much you can do about that. I think Bob, like I said, he maybe should have invested in some sort of defense a little bit sooner. The wall here, not really doing much of anything. Obviously just tried to secure up the back of his base, but completely open, well, just relying on the house walls at the front. Great game. But yeah, it's just once you get to that big mass of slingers and bows. We were talking about this actually in the admin chat earlier. It's just very difficult to beat this combination. You need like a really large mass. I think if you, what can you even go to even counter that? Maybe like slinger of your own and scouts. But you need a lot of food. But yeah, Bongo just got a good push forward. And Bob again had like a good initial tool age. Just got a few traded off the units quite well. But then just gave Bongo the chance to just punch his way through the front of his base there. And just doubled down on the bows. Again, like I said, he already knew his opponent was going into the slinger. So the addition of the second archery range, possibly not the wisest. And you see here he's got the 3 stables at the end. So he knew he needed to go into the scout at some point. But he just left that far too late. Potentially if this was stable here, maybe he could have got a few scouts out at that point. I think Bongo had stopped going into axes at that point, but we'll never know. We'll never know. We'll get ourselves to 2-0 to Bongo now. So he's at series point, and obviously the loser of this series is out of the tournament as well. The winner will advance on to play, I think... wait, do they auto-advance? It depends if Cool's playing, I think. Because I think Unrestricted's playing... Maybe the winner plays Unrestricted, I'm not sure. I can't remember which side of the bracket is. I just realised I've got the starting soon thing still on, so I will quickly turn that off. Get ourselves quickly back to the draft before the next game starts. Looks like they're on Plateaus as the next map. So we're going to go to Bob's other map here, and we had the chosen. No, did we have the chosen? Yeah, we did. No. Wait, what was played then? Was it the chosen? I think it was the chosen, right? Against the Phoenicians. And yeah, Plateaus. I feel like Bob. Is he just forced to pull out the Shang here now? And maybe we just sing a Shang mirror here now. Maybe that's the play. And we do get ourselves into the third game. Nice and quickly there. I'll load us up. We'll just quickly restart Capture Rage to get rid of the burning bug. So yeah, looks like, oh yeah, we do see a Shang mirror. Not really too surprising. You kind of, if you pick Shang, you don't really want to get knocked out without using it, as it's usually pretty much always the strongest Civ. Alright, Rikamaro. How you doing, my friend? But yeah, we're taking ourselves to Plateaus. And games here usually tend to be fairly quick. I think I've only seen one game on Plateaus reach the Bronze Age. Normally it's a forward, sneaking forward of a barracks or, well, double barracks archery range is a usual classic. As this map's a little bit unpredictable in its spawning. Though Bongo here has quite a closed base. Bob's a little bit more open. Hope to see some good matches. Well, unfortunately, the first two have been decided pretty quickly in the favour of Bongo. I'm hoping Bob is able to pull the game back here. That game was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, again, Bongo just not bothering with the centre. He's just pushing his deer in nice and early. Whereas Bob is searching for the central elephants. Be interesting to see if he does choose to take all four. Actually, no. Okay, it looks like the artifact's going to slightly miss those elephant there. So he's going to grab the two here. I thought he would just like skirt around the edge of the pool here, because the elephants basically are always at the edge of the pool. Instead, I guess he's going to try and scout for his opponent with the artifact here. Obviously, he's a little bit off the mark. Both players kind of on this top left side of the map, instead of being like the opposite side, as you would expect. Bob will see the edge of the hill. Actually, no, maybe he thinks his opponent could be here, though. But he should find, the edge of the ridge. That should tick him off, although he may not be paying attention to the artifact at this point. As we get the elephant train coming in. And where's the artifact gone? There it is. That's very strange. The artifact doesn't show up on the minimap. I'm pretty sure they normally do, right? That's very odd. Plateaus always seems to have loads of weird bugs. Like they used to. Actually, no. I don't know if Carver's in the chat, but did you do the change to the mines where you can't capture anymore? You used to be able to, like, on the minimap, it looked like you captured the like mining things. There's like a little thing underneath it to do with the spawn, and you could capture the guy a bit underneath it. Oh yeah, that was fixed. Okay, so like before, you used to have it so like if Bongo walked next to a mine, this mine would, instead of being like gold on the map, it would be his light blue color instead. But anyway, to focus back on the actual game, both players up to the tool age, fairly even times, 6 seconds slower for Bongo here. And I don't see a forward villager from either player, unless my eyes are deceiving me. Villager going out now. I have no idea where that artifact's gone. Oh, it's there, okay. So again, yeah, Bob not really paying attention to using the artifacts, not tried fully found his opponent here. I think just from this, what he's spotted here, he should know that his opponent is on this side, though, because there are only ever 2 plateaus. You don't get multiple plateaus per player. It's just a single plateau per player. So he should know his opponent is somewhere in this vicinity of the map. just even from that little bit of scouting there. He knows that there can't be another plateau on this side. But both players are going to barracks at home. I'm kind of really zoomed out here. I'll just try and get back in a bit more. But Villager is coming forward now for both players. It's actually quite odd that the sort of like ridge is like right back to back. That's very somewhat unusual for the spawn on this map, I should say. But Bongo hasn't actually made any clubbers, and it looks like he's going for fast bronze. Don't know if he has the wood for the buildings though. He is building a stable. Doesn't quite have the wood for a market just yet. It kind of looks like that's what he's attempting to play for. Whereas Bob has already added in the archery range. Probably expecting forward. In fact, there we go. I think this is the first time I always like mention about the middle pool, and this one time I don't mention about potentially docking it. Bob goes and does it. Obviously, this will actually favour Bob quite nicely if Bongo does just go for a Bronze Age, because the added extra eco for Bob will do quite well for him. Bongo has made a singular scout. I don't think he'll add much more to this. Although they did research tool working, that said. Okay, maybe, oh, right, it's getting woodworking as well now. Okay, it's not going to be a fast bronze from Bob. He's just setting himself up defensively. He's got the berries there, he wants them. But yeah, if Bob adds in a couple of extra fishing boats, that'd be quite nice. Bongo does already have a couple of villager leads, so yeah, just again, slightly better macro from Bongo. Not too unexpected. Bongo is the sort of much higher seeded player in this matchup. But yeah, quite a lot of idle TC time for Bob, and as the Shank, it's usually much easier to get keep that production going. Again, he's not gone for his gazelle, he's just relying on the elephants for the time being. Be interesting to see if he puts like a storage pit down next to the gold here. He's going to start. He's going to just long haul the deer. Obviously, in AOE2 you can do that because villagers can hold a lot more food from hunt, but obviously it doesn't work in Empires 1. And Bongo is going to dock the water as well. I don't think he doesn't know Bob is here, so it'll be interesting to see if he makes an initial scout ship or if he just starts making fishing boats of his own. Does have the food to click up now though. So it's been quite laid back tool age for Bongo, especially considering how active the first two games were, action-packed. And yeah, just a fishing boat. And what's the line of sight on a fishing boat? It's quite large actually. So this will, they will see each other now. And who will be the first to click scout ship is the question here now. And, and it is very quickly cancelled out of a fishing boat and immediately made it for Bongo. And Bob still hasn't noticed. Okay, finally adds it in now. Will one of the players add in an extra dock? There we go. And Bongo is the first to do that as well. So Bongo already ready with all the plays. Scout might pick off the villager here. I'm kind of a little bit surprised Bob left that villager there, to be honest. It's kind of a little bit exposed in the middle of the map. But yeah, Bob nowhere near the Bronze Age, I should say. He's massed up quite a large amount of military, but not really done anything with it. And going to have a bit of a scout ship fight here. It looks like Bob got the first hit in, and maybe, I think Bongo shot a fishing boat first. But Bronze Age is going to be in already, and it's going to be able to make scout ships from both docks here. And reinforcement scout ship swings that fight. He's just going to repair this boat up. Be quite good if the Axe could pick off that scout ship. I don't think that's going to be the case. Yeah, he's just going to be able to repair that scout ship now. And where does Bob's army go? And again, that's kind of poor from Bob. He should know that his opponent's somewhere around here from the little scouting. It wasn't the best scouting, I admit, from that artifact. I guess potentially his opponent could be here. but obviously we know. You didn't? What did you know? But yeah, scout ship's just going to take complete control of the water now. So that advantage, that fishing ship already coming as well. Bob might be able to get a few picks on the villagers on the gold here. He has quite a lot of bows in with the +1 range. He's going to shoot the house first though. It's going to give Bongo a chance to react. There we go. The villagers a little bit clumsy there, and a small gap, but one gets taken down. Bongo starting to make those cavalry units now though, and there is a good number of axes, and axes still do bonus damage to cavalry, so he'll need at least a few cavalry to break this Tool Age army at this point. Bob only just clicking up now. Bongo way ahead on eco just from controlling the pool in the centre now. And then just, yeah, much less idle TCE time as well. Look at that. 1 minute 5 to over 4 minutes for Bob. Does break in. Should be able to get some damage done before the cavalry can take over. These villagers here may delete a wall to let those guys out. Cavalry's going to get pulled in now. And that should be a pretty easy fight in those numbers. And Bob just chasing now. Maybe he should have just kept the axes all in one spot there instead of splitting them all up. Yeah, well, it's kind of, well, because obviously cavalry had the bonus against the infantry line in the original game. But yeah, axes being good against cavalry. Maybe a little bit confusing. But yeah, I think there's, yeah, the cavalry numbers are just high enough. Already getting nobility in as well. And these are Shang cavalry as well. Slight faster attack speed. And archer armor coming in a tad late. I don't think that would have made much of a difference there. But there we go. Second TC coming down for Bongo. He's opened up that. Actually, he's going to re-wall there, interestingly. Or put a gate up, I guess. And let's have a look, see what Bob is going to attempt. He just calls GG. He literally just calls GG. Wow. So, I mean, yeah, 1k point behind, I guess, yeah. He lost the lake. I mean, it was good of Bob to try and take this lake early on. But then it was just kind of confusing that he went so deep into Tool Age army. But then just kind of just didn't do really much of anything with it. It was just amassing. I guess maybe just from the last game, he was just prepping himself for Bongo to go forward again. Bongo just decided that he could just take it chill in this one. And yeah, like I said, Bongo first to notice that his opponent was on the water. Very quick to get that scout ship production going. And very easily just added in an extra dock and took control. And then, like I said, just better macro in general. You can see the idle TC time creeping up. Now and again, just widened that gap in terms of eco. So yeah, just a very clean game from Bongo and a fairly, unfortunately, one-side series. I was hoping Bob would be able to bring a little bit of X factor to this one, but I wasn't quite able to pull it off here. Like you can see at this point, it's got 11 military, and all they're doing is patrolling back and forth here. I mean, obviously, Bongo was walled, but you could try and crack through one of these buildings, potentially. And, yeah. Just, yeah, much better macro play, really, from Bongo. Read the game a little bit. I guess maybe he mind-gamed Bob a little bit, like I said, just with how aggressive the first two games had been. Yeah, not the best series, Bob, but GG's regardless. GG's regardless. And, unfortunately, Bob is out of the tournament now. And commiserations, but congratulations to Bongo, who will advance on to the next round. I still feel okay. I mean, there's some interesting. There's been a few. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Excuse. Well, I don't want to call them excuses. I'm not trying to say it's bad, but it's just funny. But yeah, Bongo fairly easily takes the water, and the game was pretty much decided by those cavalry units just sweeping up. Bongo had Bob did have a little bit of a chance to do some damage here, but like I said, Bongo had plenty of time to react. It's always a thing where, like, if you hitting the house, if you don't hit the house, maybe the bows could have killed a few more villagers there before Bongo noticed. But then you never know. The player just like notices the orange in the corner of the right. But yeah, didn't really manage to get much damage done there. And yeah, then the cavalry mass picked up, and Bob, I guess, felt he was just too far behind at that point and tapped out, which is probably fair. Probably fair. Oh, would he have faced Cool? Okay. I mean, are we definitely resigning Cool to just being completely out of the tournament then? I mean, I think that means that Bongo... Okay. Does that mean Bongo's in the top 3? Or is it a game between you and Bongo to decide who's in the top 3? Oh, wait, do you still need to play Vertex? I've lost track of like where we are. So you need to play Vertex, and then the winner of that game plays Bongo? Is that where we're at? I'll have a look at the bracket. Okay, yeah. But yeah, again, a little bit of a one-sided series, but Bongo playing pretty clean for the entire time. It's made it very difficult for Bob there. First very chaotic game, and just very hard pressed by Bongo in the second one. And yeah, like I said, maybe Bob just like felt he needed to play on the defensive in the third game, and Bongo punished that quite well by just walling up and going the eco approach. GG's Bongo, well played. I'm just trying to find the bracket here. I know where it is, but somehow there's just like so many channels that the admin can see. There we go. So we got ourselves pretty far into the tournament now. And like I said, unfortunately, Cool has been having internet problems and a few of other things come up and has dropped out of the tournament. And obviously he was our first seed. But that means that, yeah, Bongo will automatically advance on to the losers semi-final. And then we've got the winners final, which Yeti automatically also moves on to. Mini Yeti versus Say My Name. Obviously, I think that's not been scheduled yet because obviously we only found out about Cool today. Let me just double check. Yeah, I don't think we've got any games set confirmed yet. We'll have to get these sorted out. And Vertex is doing a Vertex, so we'll probably Unrestricted has sent out an invitation to a game, so Vertex will probably respond by Pigeon in the next 3 months, and we'll wait for that response. Yeah, so at the moment, just the winner side game of Mini Yeti versus Say My Name to be scheduled at some point, and then Unrestricted versus Vertex. Winner of Unrestricted versus Vertex will go on to play Bongo, and then the loser from Mini Yeti Say My Name will drop to the losers final, and then the winner of whoever Bongo plays, and Bongo, of course, will advance on to play them. And the winner, let's not change that. The winner here will just go into the grand final. Such is the way of double elimination. It's a little bit confusing. And Katie rallying the lads for the team games. I think I'll hand over to one of the guys is streaming the team games, because I'm pretty sure I saw quite a few people streaming. So yeah, Katie's still up. In fact, Spirit's still up as well. But I'll hand you over to Katie for today. So thank you for everyone that's come and joined the stream again. And we'll try and get the schedule sorted out for when the next Contenders Clash games are going to happen. And just follow up on the Discord. You can always click on the... can everyone see the Clash upcoming tab? Surely they can. Yeah, they can, yeah. You can go in the Contenders Clash section of the Discord and click Clash upcoming. And there's all the VODs there if anyone wants to watch the old VODs. And when the games are scheduled, they'll be in there as well. So if people want to keep up to date. Oh yeah, that's true. I'm not unfortunately going to be around to cast that game as well. I'm busy all of tomorrow. So I don't think I'll be able to cast that game again. It's a bit of a shame because I've missed quite a lot of the Rise of the Ancients games just because I've been trying to cover all the Clash Contenders Clash. Said it the wrong way around again. But I think there'll still be plenty of action from all the leagues in the next few weeks. So we'll definitely catch some of the games. But yeah, say my name unrestricted. When's that? 16 GMT. So I think I'm not going to be. Well, I'm busy all day tomorrow, but I don't know what I'm trying to figure it out. I've got like an optician's appointment, and I'm going to see some friends in the evening. So we'll not be around for that. But like I said, I will hand you guys over to KT, and if you guys want to join in on the team games, feel free to do so. Like I said, just keep up to date with everything on the Discord. And where is KT? Let me try to find him. KT_AOE. I've not really been following the Euros too much. I did watch the England versus Serbia game, and it wasn't the best. They did win, and then apparently it was a very poor game between them and Denmark, I heard. But right, anyway, enough talk about football. I'll send you over to KT, and I'll catch you guys another time. So, ciao for now. See you later.